had made a right disclosure by saying that it is not only section 124B which is detrimental to all of us, but the whole bunch of section 124 from A to N are affront to parliamentary democracy. So you should have slightly amended the title by saying that section 124B to N, an affront to the parliamentary democracy. We shouldn't confine only to section 124B, because the whole section, they have introduced a bunch of subsection from 124B to 124N to restrict, actually to create fear among concerned citizens in highlighting abuse of power, corruption, etc. Actually, it's a bit weird. It is an irony in the sense that undemocratic government introduce a law criminalizing an act which is detrimental to democracy. It's weird. Am I right? It's very weird, because Najib's government, for that matter, UMNO's government, BN's government has never been a democratic government. The election has never followed democratic standards, has never passed the democratic standards. So we now have 2.6 billion spent in the last elections, yet we have a law which punish a person committing an activity detrimental to parliamentary democracy. If at all the government is serious of implementing this action, the first culprit to be brought to trial is Najib himself. Because he is detrimental not only to parliamentary democracy, he is detrimental to anything. He is detrimental to our nation, our beloved nation. He is detrimental to Malaysians. He the one who used unconstitutional means to grab power in Perak. So this is unconstitutional means. What is the effect of the fiasco in Perak? You can change the government at any place, depending where you met the Sultan. If you met the Sultan in Padang Golf, so the government will fall in that Padang Golf. Because this is the effect of the constitution, the decision of the federal court. Because you can oust any legitimate government not inside the Dewan Rakyat or inside the state legislature, but you can oust the government, you can, launch a coup without having a vote of non-confidence in the Dewan. So the real culprit to be brought into trial or to be tried under this section 124B should be Najib Tun Razak. This is my position. Anyway, having said that, not only this section has been the menace, has been the affront to parliamentary democracy. There are so many plethora of laws introduced by parliament which are affront to parliamentary democracy. For instance, we have in section 203A of Penal Code. I can read you. I'd like to share with you. Sorry, have to. This is the problem of technology. Okay. Basically, section 03, you can punish any person who share any official documents in the public. In fact, when I debated that section in Parliament, I likened that section as a Rafizi clause. or the cow clause. Because of this cow gate scandal, the government introduced that law. Now everybody from the members of MSCC, maybe our governor of Bank Negara are subject, maybe will be subject to that section section 203A. This section, even if members of parliament, we share the handset to the public under this section 203, we are liable to be punished. And then the punishment is fine up to 1 million ringgit. So we debated because that section was passed by parliament. So we, myself, Surendra, YB, Govind, we debated. And the minister said that, no, you don't have to worry because it's not going to be abused. I said, you have said that before. When you introduce ISA, we are not going to abuse. But the fact remains that this law, the ISA, was routinely abused before. Okay, section 1000, section 203A. Whoever disclose any information or matter which has been obtained by him in the performance of his duties or the exercise of his function under any written law shall be punished with fine of no more than 1 million ringgit or with imprisonment for a term which may extend to 1 year or with both. It's so wide. Whoever disclose any information. That's why if member of parliament, we say something in parliament and we share that information, it can be subject to this undemocratic, whatever you say. It's a cruel sections. Even though so far I believe there has been no person been brought into trial under this section or maybe investigated under this section, but since the law has been passed, the fear is there. Because law is like a knife. If we give the knife to irresponsible persons, they can use it to stab us. So now we have undemocratic government saying about activity detrimental to democracy. Just imagine. The problem is there are so many, we are a small country, but we have so many laws which are affront to parliamentary democracy. We have Sedition Act, we have POCA. Last few months when the government amended Sedition Act, POTA, and then some provision in Criminal Procedure Code, we debated until wee hours, until 3 a.m. We have been deprived of sleep. Until now, just imagine, they just bulldoze. They don't care. Because for them, power is everything. We know that Lord Acton says, power tends to corrupt, absolute power corrupt absolutely. But I would like to make an adjustment to that phrase. Power is so delicious. Absolute power, absolutely delicious. For UMNO, it's about power. Democracy is a government of people, by the people, to the people. But in UMNO's terminology, democracy is government of UMNO, by UMNO to UMNO. Actually, these sections, they want, for UMNO, the Barisan Nasional, they have been saying that we want to protect stability. Any act which threatens stability should be dealt with by law. But the problem is, there is always there is a confusion. Anything which is detrimental to Barisan Nasional is always interpreted as detrimental to the nations. Any speech which has detrimental effect to Barisan Nasional can be criminalized. Can you imagine we have a law professor talk about law, then end up in court of law? Professor Azmi Shahrum, he's a law professor, talking about legal provision, talking about legal matters, and subject to Sedition Act. Professor Aziz Bari, his PhD on monarchy, constitutional monarchy. When he talked about monarchy, he was subject to Sedition Act. The police came to his office, to his house, in front of his family. Just imagine, law professor has PhD in constitutional monarchy, but cannot make a speech on constitutional monarchy. So weird. Not, you know, now people are talking about terrorism. It's a global phenomenon. But the problem is the reaction of government to curb the terrorism, to curb the terrorist act, whatever, has been disproportionate to human rights protections. So now they can easily use that we are facing a terrorist threats. So we need to, we need to strengthen our law. But the problem is, they never address why the people resort to violence. Among other things, people resorted to violence because you have closed the door of democracy. When you close the door of democracy, you are opening the door of anarchy. That's why I like to remind the government, if you want people to respect the government, you have to respect their rights. You have to respect their democratic rights. That's what happened in Arabia, in Arab countries. So many years, their basic rights, freedom of speech, freedom of association, freedom of assembly, were curtailed by the government. So we see what we saw. We saw what was happening. The people, even though you have pressured them, but ultimately they stood up. Then they use violence means to oust the government. So we don't want that to happen in Malaysia. That's why if the government talking about parliamentary democracy, you must give a space to people. Recently, the new Minister of Communications, Menteri Penerangan, we will amend a new law to curb the information in internet. So just imagine, last time we have Printing and Publication Act, where if you want to publish newspaper, you must get a license to be renewed annually. Then the minister, under that act, the minister is given a very wide power to impose any conditions. I remember when I represented Harakah at that time. Now I'm Harapan Baru. So my predecessor. But I just want to share. When I represented Harakah, because Harakah, they impose certain conditions to publish Harakah. Among the conditions, you cannot even publish any news against UMNO, Barisan Nasional. Just imagine being opposition, you cannot talk, you cannot write something against the government. It's ridiculous. But that was the condition imposed in the permit. You cannot sell to the public. As if Harakah is like, is a special newspaper. Only certain people, only certain group of people can read. You cannot even publish daily. Of course, we know that also has been the condition in other newspapers. But despite that, people still accept it as a matter of law. But people got some relief when we have internet. Because for the first time, people can have alternative views. People can listen to alternative views. But now they want to restrict even information in the cyber world. So just imagine, they have POTA, they have POCA, they have Sedition Act, they have anything in their possession. Still they want to curb our basic rights, our minimum rights, by having a law to restrict any propagations of information in the cyber world. So I think we have to stand up. We have to say to the government, enough is enough. So now we have a new hope. We have a new, insyaAllah, Pakatan Baru. So I hope all of us will support a new Pakatan Baru. We want to build a new Malaysia. We want to build a new politics, which definitely, we are against any attempt to promote perkauman. We are anti-perkauman. We want Malaysia to respect each other despite our different of religion, different of races, different of language, because we believe all Malaysians, we share the common goals, common values, that we want Malaysia to be prosperous under the democratic space. Thank you very much.